Hey, everybody, this is Jim with Harvest Harmonics, and welcome to another episode of the Future of Farming Today, the 4th of July edition. And I just wanted to start by saying welcome to everybody. It's been a while since we've been doing the live streams, mainly because, we were really just busy with everything else. We're really hitting it hard, getting in touch with lots of governments, getting in touch with lots of universities, getting in touch with lots of farmers and associations, and really just doing everything we can to help our farmers. In fact, we've been doing a lot of administrative work to really assist our farmers in organizing all of our results, organizing our data, making sure that everything that we have, because what we realize is we have a lot of information, we have a lot of results, we have university results, we have governmental results, we have results relating to not just crop yields but and making more money, but sustainability, which has been a huge deal. Just a number of different things that we've really been able to influence. And we really realize we just haven't had this organized in a way that makes it easy for new people that we haven't talked to really assimilate all of the information, really be able to get what we're doing and get why this really is the future of farming and why it's so important. But if you have any questions along the way, guys, please feel free to ask him. I will have a few things I wanted to say here, but I'm happy to answer your questions. And of course, if you want to work with us at any point, definitely send us a message, or you can also email service@harvestharmonics.com. We would love to get your information and see how we can work together to help you get better results for your farm going forward. And of course, that's why we're here. But really, just want to start off by just saying Happy 4th of July, everybody. Of course, we're doing our annual Independence Day celebration today, a day early, so that our staff can enjoy, the holiday with the rest of their families, just like the rest of you guys. And after working, 7 days a week since Christmas, it's definitely a welcome day off for us. But for those in other countries that follow us, the 4th of July is the official day that we celebrate America's independence from England in 1776. The story goes, of course, that the colonists were frustrated by the lack of representation they felt when England levied taxes and other fees on our goods. And they didn't have a say in whether or what they were charged, and they got sick of it. Now we see the same thing happening in countries like Kenya and Ethiopia right now. And to some degree, it's happening again here in America, as the public really feel that our government isn't representing our interests, but only themselves. And our company, Harvest Harmonics, was really founded on the principle that farmers should be free to choose how they want to grow, right? Do you want to grow organic food with a better profit margin and healthier food? Now you can. Do you want to grow without so many harsh chemicals? Now you can. Do you want to practice regenerative farming without losing, yield? Now you can. Do you want to save water during droughts or difficult situations? Now you can. Do you want to take advantage of tax incentives and carbon credits and other rebates? Now you can. You see, beyond the freedom from things, are also freedom to. The freedom that our forefathers fought for should not be limited by economic pressures or governmental regulations, right? And now you have a choice as a farmer and the freedom to choose how you want to grow, because we're making it easier than ever to handle the stresses and the various variables of farming, right? In fact, we developed our crop booster technology to help make these alternative and natural growing techniques more profitable and more sustainable, right? And we developed our profitability optimization program for sustainability, or a POPS program, to show farmers exactly how much they can reduce their water, fertilizer, and other inputs without losing yield. So if you want to maximize yield as efficiently as possible, this program will show you how. If you want to minimize input and water costs without losing the yield you now have, the POPS program will show you how. So as we roll into Independence Day for 2024, if you really want to get off the fence and exercise your freedom to choose, we are ready to help you in every way possible. And if you followed us for a while and have never moved forward, now is definitely the time to step forward and get started. At the end of the day, we really want to make sure that all farmers and nurserymen and landscapers and gardeners are getting the most out of their growing and the most out of their operations, because at the end of the day, it's you guys who are growing all of our food. It's you guys who are nourishing us. It's you guys who are growing in ways, hopefully, that is benefiting everybody. And of course, we want to do everything we can to support you. So, just to give you a little bit more idea of our POPs program, this is a program that was developed. Really, it took us over about a year to fully develop it, but it was really started a couple of months ago. And the program itself is really a trial design, and it's a very unique trial design that's designed to really maximize the control that you have in how you set up your farm. Because at the end of the day, most farmers have told us, they said, look, I like your program. What you sent, what you have seems amazing, but I don't want to risk, you know, 100 acres of my farm or 200 acres or 500 acres of my farm to try something that I haven't seen before, right? So they're really not willing to risk their farm and risk how, they're growing, right? And we of course understood that, and we said, how can we prove ourselves? Because on the one hand, whenever we've given our technology away for free for a farmer to try, which is of course what most farmers ask for, unfortunately, the growers never actually followed through and never measured anything. They never paid attention to whether our field was doing better. They really didn't do all the measurements. They didn't give us the data. In a lot of cases, they didn't even install it. That was what was flooring to us. Like, we just gave you $50,000 of technology and you didn't even install it. So that really showed us that without any kind of investment from the farmer side, they were never going to really take it seriously. And if they didn't take it seriously, it was not something that they were going to benefit from, right? Because we could get them a 15, 20% increase in yield and they may not even see it, right? Or we can really reduce their insect damage or their fungal damage on their farm and they wouldn't even see it. So we had to find a way to say, okay, we can't just give it away for free, because without being there on the farm, on every farm we talk to, we just have no control over the situation. And then the farmer doesn't win, we don't win. Everybody is pointing the finger at each other, and it's not good for anybody, right? So on the other hand, of course, the farmers, if they paid for it, they weren't willing to pay for something they didn't know. So we said, well, how do we overcome this? How do we get the farmer to pay attention and do the measurements and follow the program? But so which would they would have to pay for it, but also pay for it well without feeling that they're throwing their money away or risking everything, right? So what we did is develop the POPs program. In fact, I'll pull it up here while I'm talking. But this POPs program really was a way that we the design. In fact, our science director, Ozzy Freedom, designed this. And really what it was designed to do is take a small area of the farm, so we're not talking hundreds of acres. We're talking, an acre, 2 acres, 3 acres, something like that, maybe 5 or 10 at the most, so take a small area, and in that area, be able to break that down into smaller plots. It could be a row, it could be 2 rows, it could be 5 rows, whatever the the farmer had, depending on the size. We could actually measure this all, and I'll show you here what we're talking about. So here we go. So this program here, the POPs program, is really a design, okay, and we can adjust this according to what the farmer needs. But if I can get this thing to work here, now everything's frozen up. Okay, good. Apparently my computer finally says I can only do so much, But really what this is first of all, we set it up with the farmer, and I'll show you the field design so you get an idea of what this is. So really what we do is we take one field that has our Kiminasi crop booster installed, and we tell the farmer, look, just keep everything exactly how you normally do it. And that's this K1 field on the top left here. And then we compare that to another field that doesn't have our technology on it. It's just your normal standard agronomy program. That's your C1. Okay. Now, the field on the bottom left here called K2, we take that field and we split it up. So we split it up into zones like K2A, K2B, K2C. And what that means is we've installed our crop booster on this field. But on the first section, we might reduce fertilizer and water usage by 10%. In the second section, K2B, we might reduce it by 20%, and then 30%, 40%, and 50%. Now, some growers who are very conservative say they don't want to go that deep, but maybe they start at 5%, then they go 10%, then they go 15%. And the idea behind this is by taking these small sections, you're minimizing the potential risk, right? So if you lose a couple of rows it's not going to break the bank, right? However, what we found, and we've had a few growers actually run through this whole program, and what we found is that very often by reducing your input and water costs or water usage by 10 or 20%, you actually get more yield than you normally would, even with our crop booster. And that was kind of surprising on one side, but not surprising on another. And I'll explain why. Um, the reason why we sometimes see better results with less fertilizer than we do even just using our crop booster with more fertilizer is um, farmers very often are using too much fertilizer as it is. They use too much water and too much fertilizer because the idea is it's better to be safe than sorry, right? But the problem is if you overwhelm the plant with too much water and fertilizer, especially on nitrogen, you'll start to see the plant get can get nitrogen poisoning if it's really bad, or it can start losing its efficiency. In other words, it doesn't efficiently process that nitrogen or those other nutrients that the plants need, and because it's not efficient, then you're actually overwhelming the plant. Well, with our crop booster, we're boosting the efficiency of the plant to absorb and utilize these nutrients, right? But again, if we're reducing the amount of water and nitrogen that the plant needs by 20 or 30%, and you're still using all of that water and nutrients, and you're really overloading it, and that can actually reduce the effectiveness of our crop booster. It generally won't reduce your yield, but it definitely won't increase your yield as high as it normally as it could go. And again, that's why we have our POPs program, right? We ran this with an almond grower in Australia, and what they found was at 10%, they got a 20% increase in yield versus their control or untreated field, right? So they were super happy about that. But then at 20%, it was like I think 12 or 13% over control. And at 30% less water and fert, it was still like 3 or 4%. And then at 40% less water and fertilizer, they actually saw just a little bit higher than their control. So even at 40% reduction, they got more yield or about the same yield as they did with an untreated field. Now, what does that really mean and why is this so important? Well, it's important because some growers really want to benefit sustainability. They're not so much interested in increasing yield, but if they can really reduce that water and fert usage without losing yield on what they're currently doing, that's ideal. And I'm talking about the wine growers and certain crops that they just don't want to get more yield, but if they can get the same yield with less inputs, that's what they want to focus on. So the POPs program allows them to really maximize that input and water cost while maintaining their current yield. And again, this program will tell you on your farm with your chemicals and your inputs and your water and your soil, your climate, it will tell you exactly on your farm how much our crop booster can benefit you and where that sweet spot is, right? So if you want to maximize sustainability and reduce water and fertilizer usage, the POPs program will show you that exact point where you can maximize that savings without losing yield, right? Or if you're like most growers, maybe you're not so much caring about reducing input costs, but you want to maximize that yield. And again, using our system on that K1 field will show you with your same agronomy program how much our system will boost it. However, that K2 field may show you, like it did with our almond grower, that even that when you reduce it by 10% or 15% or 20%, you actually get more yield than you would even using our crop booster. And again, the whole system is designed, that the system in consultation is designed to really show you what that sweet spot is for you, like depending on what your goals are and what your agronomy program is and what your climate is. This POPs program dials it in exactly for you. And because we're doing it on a small area to start with, again, half an acre, maybe up to 5 acres, we're really minimizing the risk there, but you're going to be able to see what we can do for your whole farm by really maximizing that input and that throughput. So the POPs program is, again, it's been 7 years in the making. We put a lot of work into it. We put a lot of work into really figuring out how we can best service our farms because again, not everybody wants yield. Not everybody wants fertilizer savings. Not everybody is interested in these things. But again, as I mentioned earlier, if sustainability is important to you, or government programs or rebates, or maybe grant funding or other types of stuff is important to you, then maybe you want to look more onto the saving of water and fertilizers side. And maybe you want to apply for some of these grants, because we are actually working, our next step is working on a grant program where we can assist farmers in obtaining funding to do these types of trials. So you're not necessarily out of pocket for the money, but at least you've still exchanged some time and energy into putting this program into place, right? And the government or these grants will help you pay for it, right? That's important because a lot of this grant funding is going unutilized. And of course, we want to be able to use these funds as they were intended to really improve the sustainability of these farming operations, right? So if that's important to you, then you definitely need to talk to us. And now is the perfect time, because we are putting these programs together to assist farmers and make this as easy as possible. We just talked to a gentleman yesterday and do that and offset their costs. So um, really, what we want to see is as much people as we can getting the benefits that you have to use yield. You have to do things the old way, because you don't. At the end of the day, you have a choice, right? You have a choice in determining what you want to do. Do you want to really reduce inputs? We can do that for you. Do you want to really maximize yield? We can do that for you. Do you want to hit that sweet spot of efficiency? We can help you with that too. So, if you really want to be free of this old school model where you're at the complete effect of governmental regulations or chemical or fertilizer costs or droughts and these types of things, then give us a call. 727-324-6750. Email us at service@harvestharmonics.com, or just leave us a message on the social media channel you're watching this on, so that we can contact you and we can work with you to make your farm part of the future of farming today. Have a very happy and safe 4th of July, all you guys out there, and we look forward to seeing you and working with you very, very soon. To your success, happy 4th of July, everybody.